Okay, that's good.
Just Meg.
Like, if you would have been told.
Let's keep going. All right.
That was crazy.
Was it?
Just one day.
Carson knocked out!
Rick!
Centurions, we have just received word that at 8 a.m. was killed in a fatal car accident. Every 15 minutes in the United States, a life home. Every 15 minutes, a future is ruined. Yesterday, a Saga student was taken from class every 15 minutes. Each student symbolizing a life lost, a hope dashed, related incident. For the remainder of the day, the living dead walked among the students without physical or verbal contact, enjoying no one's company, and going through the day as if they no longer existed. Their sole purpose is to bring home one simple message, that this can happen to anyone, at any moment, and usually when it is least expected. And how quickly one seemingly small but tragic decision to drive impaired can destroy a life, decimate a family, and rock a school to its very foundation. The Walking Dead served as a bleak reminder of the fragility of life. For these students, there will be no more carefree breaks between classes, no more football games, no more rushing to the parking lot at lunch. They would never go to their senior prom, never graduate or go to college, never home to her kids and husband again. She will never get to experience her children's high school graduation. She will never go to her daughter's wedding. All the little things, gone, because someone made a choice to drive impaired.
Fellow coworkers.
Students, parents, teachers are asking why today, after a bloody rampage, plunged this campus into tragedy.
Details are just coming in, but we're being told that a heavily armed gunman opened fire this evening at the mall food court behind me. There's no official word on any casualties yet, but one eyewitness reported seeing at least 6 people shot.
Active shooter. A gunman or gunmen killing or attempting to kill people in a confined, populated area.
It was kind of scary at first, to tell you the honest to God truth. You couldn't tell where the gunman was. All you could hear was shots coming from every direction and police coming in and telling you which direction to run and which exit to go out of if you could run.
Armed with paintball ammunition, LA County sheriffs with the city and county fire departments practice the scenario and get familiar with the campus to help determine best practices.
What would be the safest route to exit through to get medical care? If fire department were to stage for a triage, where would the best place for them to go?
Up first is going to be Alex Villanueva, Sheriff of Los Angeles County.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. We had an active shooter drilled just in the last few weeks at the school, and we had evidence that the kids ran as they were told to run. Kids barricaded themselves, they sheltered in place, they covered the windows, propped the doors shut, and they did exactly as they were trained. Let me provide you some updated information that we now have clarified and be able to expand on. And as indicated, the off-duty personnel who have family in the school were in effect the first responders on scene. And I will identify 3 of them. Detective Daniel Finn, Santa Clarita Sheriff Station Detective Bureau. He had just dropped off a family member at the school and was driving away from the school along the perimeter when he saw all the children running away from the sound of the gunfire. And he turned around and became the very first person on scene. He was accompanied by Officer Sean Yanez from Inglewood Police Department, and then Officer Gus Ramirez from LAPD. So the three of them were the very first on scene. They entered the school literally within seconds of the shooting. They were followed within a minute by our uniformed personnel from Santa Clarita Sheriff Station.
The units in Saugus Code 3 is needed. 245 just secured 417, going to be at Saugus High School, 21900 Centurion Way. Shots fired.
Here within 30 seconds, I'm going in. 6 David, going 97.
Down near the outdoor stage by the quad. Suspect description is going to be a male white with sunglasses, wearing a dark jacket. Once again, male white, dark sunglasses, dark jacket.
Suspect description is male adult wearing a black jacket. You're wearing a black hat, black shirt, blue jeans.
Information for description, all we have at this moment is a male Asian with a black beanie. And command post at Central Park. Repeating description, all we have at the moment, male Asian.
All units stand by. There's going to be a student in room M1304 that was hit in the abdomen. Once again, room M1304 that was hit in the abdomen.
What police did not realize at that moment was that the gunman was one of the 6 teenagers rushed to the hospital with a gunshot wound to his head.
Details are just coming in, but we're being told that a heavily armed gunman opened fire this evening at the mall food court behind me. There's no official word on any casualties yet, but one eyewitness reported seeing at least 6 people.
111. Sounds like we have 4 patients right now. We'll get back to you. Engine 111, Jeff. 4 fires en route to another at the building M1304 and one at E. Edward 503. 60 Sam at this time. As far as only victims that I was notified of is the one in room M1304. If fires, if you can have them respond there, and then also there was 3 down in the quad area on the other side of the office. Copy?
Okay, break. Okay, confirming we have no active suspect, no active shooter. We only have victims down. Hey, Sarge, that's what we're trying to confirm right now. We have 1417 recovered. I need somebody to grab that witness. We need a good witness to pause ID.
Hey, let's get units up at the top of the residential. I got some workers up on the hill saying that they possibly saw the suspect running on the street that's to the west of the school.
Suspect was walking in this direction, but there is an unknown location on him at this time. Negative visual at this time.
Units or Newhall units are responding towards Highland Elementary School. Report that the shooter was walking up the dirt path from the high school to the elementary school.
Copy reports of the shooter walking on a dirt path to what elementary school?
Highland Elementary, unknown address.
Copy, Cops 1 S20 is 97. I have 145 that's en route, almost 97. Suspect was walking in that direction. I'm on location at this time.
That's 4. Can you contact the Newhall office, advise the front desk officer to call the unit to training days, have them go back to the office, get a uniform and deploy?
Do that. Calling the office now. the moment is a male Asian black beanie. No further information on him.
97 Highlands Elementary. We're getting all kids in this one MPR room, sitting up there around the high side by the elementary school.
Go ahead, 100. You're 97 at the elementary school. Can I arrest your traffic? 10-4.
One MPR room. We're setting a perimeter around the elementary school.
You're setting a perimeter, getting all students into one area?
5 and 6, confirm, go to Highland, not Saugus now. 1.6, heading copy. And multiple units on the air. Assuming 506 stand by, just want to ascertain. 146, go ahead with your traffic. And if anyone could advise where the set of points going to be at, confirming, is it Highland Elementary or is it 502? Myself and several MREs are holding down the courtyard. You spot it high. About 30 deputies are at the elementary school. 502 and copying several commercial units that are inside the courtyard at the high school. And information for all units at the shots fired scene. For information, the report is the suspect is a male Asian adult, last seen wearing a black beanie. Possibly last seen leaving the high school via dirt road to the elementary school area, requesting the perimeter be set up around those two schools. And multiple units on there, Southern 200, go ahead with your traffic. LA Southern 200, per the sheriff's radio, they may have contact with the suspect in the bushes between the high school and the elementary school. Just for info. Southern 200 copy, per the sheriff's scanner there, they might have contact with the suspect in the bushes in the area between the high school and the elementary school. Was That's affirmative, sir. We're about
Hey y'all, it is November.
Okay,
Correct me if I'm wrong, but
is on
it's
the frequency.
the 18th.
The unit that was advising of the hole and the rope.
2019. It's about time to get it on. What we were playing before right now, what's playing right now, that's actually a video off of the man with the plan, Joseph Collin. Let's see if I can. There you go. Let's look at it. Just in case if you haven't heard, you know, I mean, I understand. I say a lot of things, and you may not have caught it, but Joseph Collin really is the man, right? And he has a very extensive archive as well as just. This particular video was about a high school named Saugus. I still don't even know where. Was it in California? Saugus? Centurion or something like that? Alright. There was a mass shooting recently. Suffice it to say, I don't know too much about it, but this video that I seen from off of Joseph Collin, I believe, I don't know if we can go up to the comments, not on landscape view. But if you were to go check it out, I am going to leave a link after this recording goes up on YouTube. I'll leave a link down there below, and you should go see it. In fact, he's gotten a lot of new subscribers. I don't know if it says right here. 444, all right? I think earlier today it was somewhere in the high 300s, all right? So he's got a little boost. I noticed he got it from our friend Anaconda Mall Liquor, if you know who that is. All right, but we're developing something of a network of people. Here's the thing about this particular video. When you go see it, if you want to go see it, pretty much the consensus, I think the point that everybody was getting to, and so it's probably you're not unfamiliar with, is that these school drills, you know what I'm saying? These drills that they be having about the mass shooting, basically that's satanic rituals. Now, of course, you probably already know that most people don't understand that they are participating in satanic rituals. And that's what's odd to find out. It's like, you know, all throughout history, people have been participating in satanic rituals, right? But some people do it without even knowing it. In fact, most people do it without knowing it, probably. And isn't that interesting, right? And the thing is, it's kind of the perfect crime, if you will, except we see through it. But it's kind of the perfect crime because you could start installing mass shooting drills at each and every location, public locations, every public school, like in the America, right? Or across the world, dude. They're going to start doing it all over the place. But see, when you do it, you're pretty much prepping the kids to be helpless, all right? We figured that out. But when you do it, it's just like you're carrying out a ritual. And it's one of those lesser magic rituals, I guess that's what they would call it. It's a lesser magic ritual. Nobody gets killed, but you like worship the idea of people getting killed, and you're just like reenacting it, and you're doing it for no reason. And like I said, the children will be helpless regardless if it happens, right? What y'all need is armed guards, and everybody knows it, right? But see, it's a ritual. You're just acting it out. Oh, it's just so fun and stuff. And it reminds me at the beginning of this video of when I was in high school, and that was a long time ago. That was like over a decade ago. When I was in high school, and they had those little drunk driving things. You know what I'm saying? Y'all probably experienced that too, where they pretend people die off of drunk driving, and they pretend and they put on the makeup and they glorify it almost in a sense, like they dwell upon and they meditate on the idea of their fellow children or their students dying horrifically in car crashes, and they do the makeup. They want to see them dead. They want to see them bleeding and stuff. Believe it or not, that's a satanic ritual. See, they tricked you. They tricked y'all. I mean, thing is, they kind of tricked me at the time, way back then, just because I had no idea. Like, I was just sitting around being like, what is this? We got a comment up in the dang house. It's Brenda and Rabbi Brenda. I appreciate it. Hey, Brenda, let us know if it's coming in pretty good or if it's not coming in good at all or buffering, or if you can even hear me when I say that. All right, but we realize satanic rituals, right? And they duped everybody just because it seems innocuous and it seems harmless. Actually, when you step back and if you have eyes to see, it actually looks satanic. It looks gruesome. You wouldn't want to do this, not on purpose. Like, this is crazy. But that's how they tricked it, and it was always meant to be that way. Like, that was the design. Sounds good? Oh man, that's pretty awesome. You know, one day I'm gonna have it to where you could see my face if you wanted to. Of course, I didn't comb my hair too good right now, but we're not gonna do it this time because we don't want to mess up the signal. We got a strong signal going, so I think we're gonna just try to keep it on point. I think the rest of this broadcast is probably going to be the bulk of an hour at least. So, or like pretty much an hour. That's our time limit before I got to get up out of here and start making money. This stuff doesn't make me money, but you know, I mean, it's very important. I think we're talking about these satanic rituals. See, it's a perfect crime because you can hold your satanic rituals all over the nation. Nobody's going to question you. And also, in certain various locations, you'll prepare and get stuff situated in order that you can make something happen. And what I mean by make something happen is violence. That's what you want to do, right? Because it makes your agenda carry on. You're making your own supply and your own demand of this particular commodity, and meanwhile, who knows? People probably get all shut up, all right? Maybe they don't, but I tend to believe that some people do. They do get shut up during this little perfect crime that y'all got going, all right? They think that people caught on to it. We caught on to you already. This is old news. It's just going to keep happening. And the answer is always going to be, well, the news is drumming it up and they're hyping it up and they're making it happen over and over again. They're talking to crazy people into their crazy ears. And those people hear it and they're like, oh, propaganda, that's what I love. And they just live in propaganda and they can't even, like I said, man, back when they're in high school or when I was in high school, probably when you were in high school, we did not have any clue. We didn't even know better. So you start advertising it basically to high school students, and that is what's happening. Because they're the most capable of, attaining a weapon or something somehow, and then shooting everybody down. Like, you're going to target the high schoolers especially. All right, and that is what's happening. It's a satanic ritual. It's all over the place. And, it just goes unquestioned. I thought we'd start off with that, I suppose. That's not good. But see, like, if YouTube ever found out, you guys, all right, that's the thing about it. I get some subscribers. Definitely, I got new subscribers here and there. But if YouTube ever found out, am I right, you guys? All right, before we start, I just want to let everybody know we got General Shepard up in the house. That's amazing. I see that we got a third person up in the house. We got Leah L up in the house. We got Rabbi Branda up in the house, obviously. And, everybody's straight chilling. Here's what I gotta let y'all know. And for the people out there who's gonna see this recording, I promised y'all that we would get down. We would get down to the nitty gritty and it would be a super professional. This is on a live stream, surprise live stream that I did yesterday. I regretfully had to admit to y'all, I barely got things together, all right? I was doing all sort of stuff today. And, to include taking a nap, all right? And I did this and that. I got carried away, and so trust me, we have more than enough to go over. All right, I don't know if you're checking it out earlier, but oh man, we'll be coming to the house Saturday, probably not. The thing is, dang it, I lost my train of thought. Okay, we got more than enough to go over and stuff, and we actually have been going over screenshots a little bit earlier. So if you were around earlier, you might have seen that, and you might have an idea of already what we're gonna go through. Thing is, I'm sure all sort of news happened today. In fact, I made a video about Chick-fil-A and how they're balling all over everybody. And that's like the opposite. To me, that's the opposite of a satanic ritual. I don't know. To me, that sounds good, that Chick-fil-A is balling all over the place. And I endorse that. All right. I don't know if I have a screenshot of that because that's very new. All right. And I already made a video of it. So we're going to start. I don't even know where we're going to start. I'm not sure where we should, but we're probably just going to dive into it. And because it's so up in the air, I want to especially encourage everybody out there, just right now, if you want, there's something on your mind, there's something you want to talk about, all right, or something you want me to maybe touch on for a second, feel free, all right, because I'm looking forward to it, all right. I desperately want you to help me out, all right. But in the meantime, wait, we got a question out there. Or no, I don't know if we got a question. Deep State tried to poison Trump yesterday. Wow, all right, because I didn't hear about that. I did not hear about that at all, okay? We got, as you can see, hold on one second. We got more than enough to talk about. Look at all these screenshots, and we could dabble on each and every one of them and stuff, and that'll take more time than we have, all right? That's just to go show you. But I hadn't heard about this, all right? It's completely interactive, and I want y'all to be a part of this. And so I hadn't heard, you just saw that video about Donald Trump getting poisoned, or I'm not sure what Brenda's talking about, but we're about to dive into real quick. Let's see if this is being documented here on Google. That's not to say that Google wouldn't try to hide stuff, would they? Donald Trump poisoned. Let's see if anything pops up about yesterday or attempted to be poisoned. What in the world is going on around here? See if anything pops up. Source: Trump was tested for deliberate food poisoning. Now, we know full well that people accidentally food poison themselves. It does happen, right? Especially when going out to fast food restaurants and stuff like this. But we also know, we know for a fact, but it should be obvious that Donald Trump would test everything that he's eating ever, right? And that is to say that he would, amongst having all sort of methods of checking it out, he would have definitely people eating the food that he's eating as well. That way, if he gets poisoned, other people might get sick as well, probably. I'm sure there's all sort of caution that Donald Trump goes to over his food. And if he didn't, that would be irresponsible. That being said, Trump has terrifying new plan to poison the air. What in the world? That's by Vanity Fair. Yeah, I bet you he does. Some Dr. Evil plan to poison everybody. Donald Trump eats McDonald's for fear of being poisoned. See, this is old stuff. Trump loves McDonald's because he's afraid of being poisoned. See, everybody knew. And these people are acting like, oh, that's paranoid. No, when you're the president, you should be paranoid of what you eat. That should be one of your responsibilities, all right? They should put that in your job description. Be paranoid of what you eat, all right? Unwrapped by Brenda says something about exalted lamb, said IPEC goat 2 predicted Trump dying this week. Oh, man. What? I don't know any of those people, but just so that y'all know out there, if you've heard of these people, exalted lamb said that IPEC Goat 2 predicted Trump dying this week. Now, I'm sure a lot of people predict stuff all the time, all right? As far as Trump's death, I'm sure people are predicting it all the time. And I don't know these people, but perhaps they have some sort of, who's to say? Who's to say? But as far as our source, Mr. General Shepard, it does seem that people have been talking about this. Now, as you can see, Google did try to talk about other stuff. Like, they're not exactly talking about the news that I wanted to have, but unfortunately for them, this did pop up right here on top. All right, so we might just take a quick look into it, dive into it a little bit. All right, because we definitely want to get some more details before we just move on. Although there's so much stuff that we got to cover. All right, we're gonna see how much we can. All right, let me see what Brenda was talking about. She's talking about that I believe that would be Exalted Lamb, put up a video last week. I don't know who that is, and I'm not sure if we can get to it because I don't know. I don't know if it's a short video or what they're trying to say. But I gotta say, as far as being poisoned, yeah, you should know that people are gonna try to poison you. And if you're in any sort of if you're the president or the king of anywhere, you should be. That should be something you'd be concerned about. Source says Trump was tested for deliberate food poisoning at Walter Reed Military Hospital, and this is just breaking news. This is from today. This is an article from Tom Peppert, all right? And if y'all don't know, Tom Peppert, he does a lot of different things, man. He's all over the place. But, I would also like to draw attention to a show that he's doing. He's been doing it for a little while now with Will Johnson. It's called Firepower. You can find it on Band.video. And Band.video is so comprehensive. You guys, I know I kind of like InfoWars, and I know a lot of people out there that kind of be hating on InfoWars, or they might just be suspicious of InfoWars and stuff like that. Irregardless, they do have a website called Band.video, and it is super comprehensive, and you get a lot of people on there who you could dive into their various broadcasts, and it's just very simple. It's so you could do it on your phone, you could do it on your computer, you could just get on it, and it's amazing, dude. And it's just constantly being updated. And at the same time, you could always drop by their store. If you go to Band.video, they're gonna have a link right there. It looks like a shopping cart, and you click on it, and you could just buy from InfoWars. They're selling stuff at crazy low prices because they kind of got a plan, right? They got a plan, and it involves red alert. It involves everybody bracing for tumultuous times, and we're not talking about a long time from now. We're talking about within a year. We're we're looking at bad times. But speaking of that, there's this article. Now I tend to believe. See, we haven't read it, but I tend to believe they're talking about something real. All right. It's just my belief, but we are gonna see what other sources say over the course of time. See what's up with this. If it becomes a viral thing, if people start really talking about it. InfoWars and Natural News reported that President Donald Trump was tested for deliberate food poisoning at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center over the weekend, and a DC source confirmed this information. To National File. President Trump was rushed to Walter Reed for an unannounced visit after the presidential food taster was suddenly stricken. See, there you go. There you go. If you had any sense at all, there'd be all sort of different ways that you would implement simultaneously to make sure that you don't get poisoned. And of course, you would want to be concerned about that. I don't care what's the president of what country or where you're at. If you got some power, think about that. Really think about that. President Trump was rushed to Walter Reed for an unannounced visit after the presidential food taster was suddenly stricken with symptoms of severe food poisoning, according to the information provided to the National File. And you might recall, and this could be a total hoax and they're making it up, but I doubt it. And you might recall that you had a Roger Stone and he got food poisoning as well, real recently, right? A lot of people would think, oh man, that's a hoax, that's fake, it's all made up. Yeah, I doubt it, right? I wouldn't doubt that people are getting poisoned up in here, right? And it's not even to say they're being poisoned by the Illuminati, but who's to say what kind of person it's like, dude, it's not hard to find something that's poisonous. And if you know about those things, I guess, and I don't, you'd probably be able to poison people pretty easy, right? So who's to say what crazy maniac would be trying to poison people out there? And of course, he'd be trying to poison Donald Trump if he's the big bad wolf, if he's the most racist person that's going to tear down America, even though those people hate America. And it's just wild, right? I don't even know where exactly we're going to dive in, but I just picked a picture. And so it says in the comment section, as we discussed earlier, that Exalted Lamb said that iPet Goat 2, I don't know who these people are, predicted Trump was dying, and that there was a video put up last week. And so now, coincidentally, we don't even believe in coincidences, but coincidentally, now people are getting poisoned, right? And they didn't get Donald Trump. Oh, because he's so paranoid. Oh, he's such a kook. Oh, obviously, all right? These people are the enemy of America, and it's quite obvious. The thing is, you got to ask yourself why. And I would imagine the bulk of my people, all right, here on the internet, they like America, whether or not they even live in America. And some people live in America and they love America, all right? We got our problems. Yeah, we got our history. But you know what? It's a lot better than other places. All right, so some people hate America and they throw rocks and they hide their hands all day, and that is their whole life, hating America. Why? Because America has made it so easy for them. Well, they might want to make it harder on themselves. They might want to move to Venezuela, all right, like David Hogg or something. You know what I'm saying? It's like you might want to go somewhere where it's so much harder because you hate how easy it is. You hate how peaceful that it is in most regions of America. You hate it, all right? So admit to it. And I'm just kidding, because those people aren't watching this video, right? But those people out there, right, they should just admit to it. But it's something that some of them admit to, and some of them try to play games about, right? As we were discussing earlier, we got that Santa Clarita. That's that Saugus High School, right? And as we were watching earlier, that's what you do. You have shoot 'em up drills, and that prepares you. And guess what? Now you got a real live drill on your hands. And yeah, it's going to be confusion, all right? Yeah, you're not going to know up from down and stuff. Nothing's going to be done for the children. Chick-fil-A, and then they're going to have like protests about it, about everybody's guns and taking everybody's rights away. Isn't that an interesting development? We already talked about Chick-fil-A. They've been scaring people off. And some people walk out and they start crying, right, from their universities because they're totally ruining their futures by going to universities, getting on all these student loans, and learning not a damn thing, except for propaganda, right? Except on how to cry when the Chick-fil-A... except for when the Chick-fil-A shows up, the Chick-fil-A truck, and then you start crying, right? That's what some people be learning, and they'll be protesting about it. They were actually big up on the news, and I made a video about it, where we can talk about it at great length. But Chick-fil-A, it seems like no matter what they do, they ball out of control, and they make more money. More money, like they make more money today than they made yesterday, and that goes for every single day, all right? And I don't know when it's going to stop. And it makes you wonder, right? When is it going to stop? But I'm referencing, for the people who aren't aware yet, that Chick-fil-A are all over the news today again by hundreds of publications talking about, oh, they turned their back on this and that, and oh, they're now pro-LGBTQIIA and stuff like that. Really, that's not the case. What's really the case is Chick-fil-A is going to make a lot of money, all right? I can't hate on it. I took a screenshot of this earlier. Two planes, they collide at the San Antonio airport, all right? They be tripping. I don't put it past them, but it sounds pretty dumb, right? And we brought up Roger Stone earlier. I don't know what Yasis means, but I did notice that earlier. Is that might be the new form of yes around here. These millennials out here. I'm just kidding, but we mentioned Roger Stone earlier, right? And it's just, see, it's not there's definitely people in much worse situations than Roger Stone. There's definitely stories that are more intense. We've discussed a bunch of them over the past, a few days especially, but to me it strikes me as very significant. All right, a lot of people got their eyes on Roger Stone because this is highly political, right? And it's in everybody's face. A lot of people know who Roger Stone is, right? And we don't have any clue as to what he's guilty of necessarily, right? And I just wanted to mention it, but it just goes to show you the media is the enemy of America. The media is the enemy of babies. The media is the enemy of success. The media is definitely an enemy of you, all right? And I mean to say is that they would sooner kill you than look at you, all right? They're disgusted by you, and they want to, obviously, I think most people have come to that conclusion. And it's crazy because most of us have only come to that conclusion quite recently, all right? Meanwhile, it's been the case probably for quite some time. And we're all absorbing it, and we're all starting to figure out that maybe not in our direct lives, but all over the internet, people figured this out. We already know what's going on. Y'all hate us. Y'all hate success. Y'all hate babies. Y'all hate America. Y'all hate everything that might be good. All right? Y'all love everything that's disgusting. And so you try to sabotage whatever the source of good is. And it doesn't matter what's the source. If you find someone doing something good, you're gonna dedicate your whole lives. We already know it. There, people at Daily Mail, so many other publications are going to dedicate their whole lives to trying to destroy whatever is good in whatever backhanded way that they could possibly do. And that's their whole life. That is their whole life. All right. I thought I would draw attention to this just real briefly. Now, I know a lot of people don't exactly keep up with Broward County. I mean, it's just one county in America. But we do and stuff on here because we do talk about that Parkland stuff. I'm not sure if they're in the news today. I haven't got my wherewithal so well. But I took a screenshot of this a little bit earlier. All right, it says, can't afford to live in Broward. Here's a new idea for more housing and lower rents. The only reason I'm putting this out is that, look at this. Doesn't this look ugly when you think about it? I mean, yeah, it kind of looks sort of nice, but when you think about it, look at this. You want to live like this? Right? I know a lot of us live in apartments. I live in an apartment right now as well. Look how big this thing is, this building. All right. I do as well. All right. But it's not something that you necessarily like. You have a headline that says, oh, you can't afford to live in Broward? Well, we got some projects for you. You want to live in the projects? You know what I'm saying? It is like that. All right. And certainly projects look different depending on where you go, but that kind of looks like what it is. Kind of looks like the ghetto. It looks like a prison, right? It looks like any public school that you might come across the nation. Like, it looks like a prison. It looks like a box. It looks like y'all all living in a box, right? And you're going to school in a box, and then, when you're going to jail, you're going to go to jail in a box, and they're just going to keep you in a box. All right, and I just wanted to point that out because Broward in and of itself, especially the more affluent parts, because it's a whole county, but you got more affluent parts such as Parkland and stuff like that, where the illusion is, oh, nothing bad's gonna happen here, nothing bad's gonna happen, and then guess what? Everybody gets shot up. Guess what? It's happening all around, South Florida, just like many other places here on Earth. Happening, and what happens is, like in this case, I wanted to point out that they'll take whatever's good. They'll try to get neighborhoods that are good, and they'll sneak ghettos into them and stuff like that. And they'll call it affordable housing and stuff like that. But meanwhile, it's just what it is a result of the economy not doing as good as it should, and people don't had no jobs, and then there's poverty all around and stuff, and some people get all disillusioned and they start becoming savages and whatever. They start living all crazy ways, and they're just stuck in desperate poverty, and it's a mind state of poverty, and just taking handouts, and that's all you could do. That's all you're good for. And they stick you in a box and they call it the projects, and then y'all get all stir crazy and violent and start killing each other, right? So, I mean, in a nutshell, if I'm not mistaken, and then they'll start to push it into good neighborhoods. That way, you can't get away from it necessarily. And with the way travel is and stuff like that, the bad neighborhoods are right outside the good ones and stuff. So if you're not really tucked away, the bad is going to get to you, and it's going to run roughshod all over your community. There is not going to be getting away from it. There will be no place safe, all right? And that's kind of a biblical thing. Like, there is no safe place on earth. And that's why, and coincidentally, people who get into the Bible or who are Christians, they tend to hold guns because they realize it ain't no place that's safe on earth, right? You're not going to get away, especially if you stay around people. And it really depends on what kind of people you stay around. So that it has been the case for Broward. I'm watching it. Like, I keep an eye on Bexar County as well. That's where San Antonio is at. And I'm watching it to see what kind of tomfoolery is going on. I thought this was kind of interesting. Now, we all know that Fox News, well, most of us know that Fox News is fake news, dude, all day. It's ridiculous. They pretend to be conservative, or they pretend to like Trump and stuff, and then they stab him in the back just as soon as they want to. It's disgusting. They hate America. They pretend to love America, and it's unfortunate. But they had a thing was saying the Border Patrol agents shoot a Russian. I never heard of that. Shoot a Russian allegedly trying to sneak into the U.S. What? A Russian, man. Now, that's not to say that it's never happened before, but it basically has never happened before. If you think about it, like, it happens very rarely. I'll tell you that. It's hardly ever that we're finding Russians and trying to keep them out of, and as much as they're supposed to be our enemy, and Lord knows we don't believe in that. Obviously, we got Russian homies. The thing is, that's kind of rare. I wanted to point that out real quick. And y'all feel free, man. Feel free to interject, all right? Stop me at any time. We've got about 30 minutes left to go in the broadcast, all right? We don't exactly know what we're doing. And I can only hope that it's going to be more professional next time and have more of a focus, all right? That's what I'm working up to, all right? It's one of the things, and that's why sometimes things take a little bit of time. That's another screenshot about sagas. We'll get rid of that. We're going to touch upon this for a second. Elizabeth Warren tax plan would bring rates over 100% to some, right? And I don't know if some of y'all heard, this is all a joke. And the only reason to bring it up is to laugh about it and to be terrified of it. When we talk about the Democratic Party and the different various clowns that they put up in front of us. One of them is Elizabeth Warren, and maybe a week ago, or a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, she came out with some sort of thing on the internet or something. I haven't seen it, where you can go and you could like type in your information, and they're gonna tell you what kind of what kind of tax plan that they have for you, right? Excuse me. And then a lot of people figured out, and trust me, I did not go find out or put any of my information in there. But a lot of people found out that basically it's a piece of garbage and it doesn't really work, and it's so stupid. and it's a stupid piece of garbage. It might remind you of an Obamacare website from a few years ago. They spent like $64 billion on it, or some crazy number, and it was a stupid piece of junk. Do you notice how like nobody's like working with that? Like, oh man, all that money. That's good. That's a good thing. I just want to talk about that. 100%. Think about that. 100%. Like, if you make money, all your money's gone. All right, you don't have money. Ah, man. All right. So we got Ariana Grande. And the thing is, we've been talking about it recently. Look, y'all, I have a lot of friends, not in the real world, but on the internet, right? Nah, I mean, I do got some people who I know, and you know, I'm cool with people in the real world too, right? And there's people I know out there. And some of them are ladies. In fact, about half of them are ladies, to be quite honest, right? And yeah, I'm sure they got tattoos out there, right? Like I came to the conclusion. I'm sure a lot of people have. It's very popular, right? Very, very popular. It's been made popular. But I was suggesting, like a lot of people have, that it's just only been made popular recently. And why would that be? Like, it makes you wonder why. How come it's just so recent? All right. You might start thinking about it a little bit. And I got to say, out of personal experience, I don't want to get it too far off into the weeds right now. But in personal experience, I've come to the conclusion that tattoos really are something to be concerned about on ladies, all right? I'm sure a lot of ladies would understand what it is I'm talking about, just to think about it. Think about the people that you know. Think about the ladies that you know. The various ladies that you might know that might be tattooed in various places on them. And if you think about it for long enough, you'll start to probably consider some of those tattoos to be red flags, right? I didn't have a screenshot of it, but people were talking about it recently. I seen it, like henna tattoos, if you know what I mean. They're like temporary tattoos. They last for like maybe a couple of days. Henna tattoos. You notice how that's always been popular. I mean, if you talk about probably centuries old tradition of ladies getting henna tattoos, right? You know, what's interesting about those is that they come off. It's kind of interesting, right? But anyways, shout out to the 4 people up in the building. I appreciate the crap out of y'all. What is it, Leah? We got Brenda, we got General Shepherd up in the house, and who knows who else we got up in the house. Let yourself be known. Safety first, all right? But if you get a chance, you know, holla at us. Tell us what we should be talking about. In the meantime, we're just talking about Ariana Grande, all right, unfortunately, but... I say unfortunately, I have nothing against this lady. I don't know this lady, all right? And I've heard people talking about this lady. I feel nothing about this lady. I don't know, but from what I've heard people talking about, she seems to be a beta sex kitten or whatever. That MK Ultra. Oh no, it's Anaconda Malt Liquor. That is unbelievable. You know, for all those people out there who don't know who Anaconda Malt Liquor is, that's amazing, all right? It's amazing. I don't even know what time it is over there, all right? But I appreciate you. I gotta let you know, we're just shooting from the hip right now. We don't know what we're doing. So if there's something that you'd want us to be talking about, and we'll touch upon it briefly. We got about 25 more minutes. We got Rich R up in the building. Rich R said hi, man. Hi, Rich R. What's the dang deal? I can't say. I don't know if you're a newcomer and stuff. You might be, or maybe you were around before. There's a lot of names floating around, and I appreciate all y'all. Y'all some dear contributors. Like I said, I'll say it a million times. If you got something you want to talk about, or you want me to talk about, or just address real quickly, I'll do it. I'll go on Google, and they'll tell us everything we need to know, right? Earlier, I gotta say, and I noticed, and I gotta thank Anaconda Malt Liquor out there, because he put the man Joseph Callan on, and I don't know if that's the first time he did it. I can't say, because it's hard to keep up with everybody on the internet. I get very flustered, and I only see certain things. But he put Joseph Callan's video on recently. I noticed Joseph Callan had a major uptick in his subscribership, and I've experienced that as well from Anaconda Malt Liquor, man. You know, he's like a fairy who goes on, not a fairy, like not in that sense, but he floats around the internet and he drops pixie dust on people and he blesses everybody. Not a fairy like this. A better thing would be an angel. He's like an angel. I don't want to get too weird with it, but he's like an angel that floats around the internet, drops pixie dust on people, and people get more subscribers. It's amazing. It's amazing how he does it. Let's see. I know some people were talking up in here, just listening for a bit. For 5 seconds, that's all we need. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's busy out there, and Lord knows we only have about 20 some odd minutes to go. All right. But I appreciate everybody for even 5 seconds. All right. But, I wanted to put Anaconda Malt Liquor out there right now and just thank him because of what he did for Joseph Callan. And that's what we're going to have to do for each other. Just stick together. There's people out here putting out gold upon the internet. All right. Pixie dust. Yeah, all sort of pixie dust, man. I don't know if you've heard that before. I don't know if you realize just how much of a difference that you're making appear on the internet. But, I mean, it's something serious, right? Anyways, you might not have heard of me talking about this before, but just so that you know, we discuss controversial stuff on here. I think you understand that. And even a lot of my subscribership might get mad at me for the things that I say. I don't care. I say them anyways, all right? Because we're trying to get to the truth. The truth might be painful, all right? We were discussing ladies, and the thing is, there's red flags when it comes to ladies, all right? And all sort of different ones, obviously. And you want to choose the right one if you want a wife and stuff like that one day. Right, tattoos. There might be some of y'all might be married. Some of y'all might used to be married. Two ladies who had tattoos. You might know what I'm talking about. I'm not sure, but they're red flags, dude. You want to stay away from ladies with tattoos, right? That's what I'm suggesting. That's what a lot of people are finding out. Sometimes finding out the hard way. All right, is that a lot of these tattoos, and especially where they're located, especially, you know what I'm saying? But tattoos in general on ladies, it tends to be a red flag. On men, has nothing to do with anything. Literally doesn't make a difference. But on ladies, that could be a red flag, right? And we're looking at Ariana Grande right now. We don't know too much about her. I don't know about her music. I've heard that she sings good. And she's definitely a beta sex kitten, right? I'm talking about MK Ultra and the whole nine. That's obvious, all right? That's obvious to anyone with eyes. All right, and so now she's got the hand tattoo. Excuse me, if you can see right there, Ariana Grande's new hand tattoo covers her entire wrist, and I can't stop looking at them. Can you imagine how desperate and so not disgusting? I don't know if despicable is the word, but can you imagine someone actually writing that as like that they're obsessed with Ariana Grande's new hand tattoo? They work for BuzzFeed. They get paid money to write this stuff. Oh, I'm obsessed with Ariana Grande's new hand tattoo. She's my favorite beta sex kitten. It's like, this is ridiculous. All right, we're going to see if we can drum out the rest of this stuff, and it is going to be extreme. We thank Anaconda. We know he's on a smoke break, but we thank him for however long, But we're just going to keep seeing if we can go as fast as we can, all right, through this extreme, nightmarish situation that we have going here. Chicago gang leader accused of supporting ISIS. Now, this is what I want to suggest. And I think we're seeing more and more proof of it, is that, these gangs, it doesn't matter what's the intention of the reason why these gangs were started, say their history, their origin, what it all is going to lead to basically, and at the end of the day, no matter how long it takes, it's going to lead to Satanism. Basically, it's going to lead to killing your brother in order to sell drugs to your other brothers and sisters, and they're going to all die, and you make some money from it, but they're kind of killing themselves. It's a tough, it's a touchy situation. All right, I know it can be explained a lot of different ways, but it's going to turn kind of satanic, and it's all going to be the that's going to be the common denominator. And so with the communication that builds and the technology that builds, it's going to all start coming together and unifying. It doesn't matter if you're talking about MS-13. It doesn't matter if you're talking about Chicago gangs. It doesn't matter if you're talking about California gangs. It doesn't matter if you're talking about ISIS. It doesn't matter if you're talking about some Russian terrorist group. They're going to start forming alliances, all at the same time while killing each other, because that's what they do. But at the same time, they're going to be coming together. Yeah, why wouldn't Chicago gang leaders be supporting ISIS? Of course they're going to do that. Just kind of makes sense. It's just kind of unprecedented. We're entering the final frontier. That's what I might suggest. I wanted to point this out, and I think that this had some nuance to it. I wanted to talk about it real quick. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is the single leading source of anti-vax ads on Facebook. Now, as I've discussed before, I don't think that anybody in the world, and I'll debate you on it, right? I'll argue with you on it. I don't think anybody in the world is anti-vaccine, all right? I don't think anybody is. When you think about it, if vaccines actually did what they're supposed to do, if it was supposed to do all good things to you and protect you from stuff, you'd want to get it. Probably. You probably want to get it and give it to your children, all sorts of stuff. You're not anti-vaccine. You're anti-poison up in your veins, right? And so that's what we're seeing. We're seeing it all over the place. We're just seeing it more and more. And as we're seeing it more and more, people are like, oh, they'll double down in their blindness because they can't help it. They love it, all right? And so they're going to be like, y'all so paranoid. Y'all paranoid like Donald Trump. Y'all so paranoid. Y'all think we're pumping you full of poison, even though we are pumping you full of poison. And it is on record. And if you just open the ingredients, you'll find out it's poison, all right? If you know how to read. So I wanted to point this out because it says that he's a single leading source of anti-vax ads on Facebook. You know, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting, and you might not make the connection yet, but I think recently Facebook, as well as Twitter and everybody else, they do it at the same time. They think with the same brain. They were thinking about banning political ads altogether. Now, of course, it's going to be whichever political ads that they choose, right? They're going to sneak some in, and they're going to be of the Democratic persuasion. We already know that, right? But they're saying they're going to ban all political ads. What's interesting to know is they're going to ban this. Obviously, this would be banned. If you're saying that, just look at it, it's all happening at the same time. Robert F. Kennedy, he's just spending as much money as he can putting anti-vax ads on Facebook. This is one of many things that they want to ban, obviously, and they're going to put it all under political. They're going to say, oh, you don't want poison up in your veins? That's political. You're being political and stuff. We can't have that. You want to warn other people about not putting poison up in their veins? We just can't have that. You're getting too political, all right? So we need to get rid of that. All right, we're going to ban that. And don't you even worry about saying that no more, all right? Oh, dang it. Wait, hold on. You take care, mate. You're amazing, all right? Anaconda is out of the building. We appreciate the time that he had, all right? We appreciate it a lot. Now I'll go over it if you've seen. I'll see if I can leave a link to his channel, but actually all you have to do is type in Anaconda Malt Liquor. He's going to pop right up. YouTube hates him, all right? But shoot, you can't keep homie down, all right? Let's keep it moving for about 15 minutes, you guys, all right? This is a 15-minute warning, okay? So from here on out, we're just going to wind down a little bit, all right? Because you don't want to leave the show on edge or like full of anxiety or anything like that. So we're going to wind it down, all right? We're going to take it easy for the last 15 minutes. And of course, if you got some suggestions, that's what we got the comment section for, all right? And I appreciate all y'all out there. Trump attack on envoy during testimony raises charges of witness intimidation. Now, of course, this is fake news. It's coming from New York Times. But that's just another example of them being fake as hell. I don't know what it is they're talking about, but I think I do. If I'm not mistaken, we're not going to read the article. Trump said something on Twitter, and it was like something to the extent of, oh, this stuff is crazy. These people out here doing crazy stuff. And And so this lady, probably in the picture, she took that as an immediate threat on her life. Um, and so she felt very intimidated. She's like, Donald Trump's threatening my life over on Twitter. I feel very intimidated. Right. Unwrapped by Brenda said, I just had a conspiratorial thought. All right. That this is the place. This is definitely the place to share those conspiratorial thoughts. All right. And we kind of appreciate them, and we kind of encourage them. And YouTube would ban us if they knew that we were doing it. So maybe he is going to get caught up in some illegal or illicit activities. And then they will say, Kennedy, anti-vaxxer, just arrested for, let's see, to make anti-vaxxers lumped in with bad things. It's very possible. And who's to say? He could be, say, one of those actors. Let's think hypothetical. Let's say he's an actor who dedicates his whole life, basically, or a majority of it, to anti-vaccine propaganda. And then he's also on the side, he's like a major pervert or something like that. Like he does weird stuff, right? And he's meant to take the fall eventually for being a weird pervert or something. Maybe he's a hypochondriac or something. Like maybe he steals stuff from out of stores or something, right? And he gets caught for that, and they say, look, this dangerous, dirty animal, he was anti-vax. Don't you see that you should pump your children full of poison, all right? There's no problem with that. It could be that, or maybe perhaps people who are against his motives, they would set him up for something, right? And this happens constantly, all the time it happens. We don't always notice it. In fact, most of the time we don't notice it, but it happens constantly. And regardless, that's kind of an interesting point to make, right? In that the media is meant to vilify people. The media is made to make everyone they can out to be guilty, no matter what. No matter if they're found guilty or anything like that. It's meant to ruin people's lives, okay? And it's kind of interesting. It's meant to manipulate also the other people in the process, right? So they'll be like, oh, this person did a bad thing, and he also said the name of Jesus one time. So that means Jesus is terrible because that person did a bad thing. All right, don't you see how that the connection? And so for example, they had this anti-vax thing, and they'll say, "Oh, we caught JFK, and he was over here, and he took a cookie and he took a bite out of it, and it wasn't his and stuff, man. And he got somebody sick and this and that. And he stole that cookie and whatever. They're gonna make whatever up. It could be any sort of heinous crime or something like that." And they'll say, oh, well, don't you see pump poison into your veins and stuff? And don't you question us? Don't you see the logic in that? All right. Meanwhile, what I would suggest out there, and I think most people in our conspiratorial circle would suggest, is to have principles, to have morals, to have your mind made up regardless of what you hear and see on the news. Like the news should never ever elicit an emotional reaction from you, or change your mind in any way. Like there's people out there, obviously they're sheep, they're easily molded, and you'll sit them on a chair and they'll watch the TV, and then the fake news will come on, and they'll be so moved by it. Like every anti-gun person, for that matter. I mean, the people who are quote anti-gun, it'd be so few out there if it wasn't for directly for the news, because most people don't have a reason to be scared of guns, for the most part, right? But they get scared by the news, right? It moves them. It causes their brain to readjust and to reconsider their morals, reconsider their outlooks, reconsider their opinions. The news and the TV should literally never do that. And I would say the internet as well, all right? And we grow as people. Sometimes we hear ideas from people say on the internet, and we might see the logic in what they're saying, and it might move us, but probably we should be very considerate about who is telling us what. All right. Where is our sources? Do they have a good track record? Do I know where they're coming from? All right. What's their agenda? Why are they telling me what they're telling me? All right. And obviously, the people around here, we already think this way, but it's interesting to think about that the majority of people out there, they don't think this way. They'll go on the internet or they'll go on the TV and they'll listen to news for whatever reason. They have no clue who's even telling them the news. And then they'll come and they'll have a conversation with you and they'll be like, oh, this and that happened in the news. Did you hear about that? Or this and that. They'll say something and then you ask them, hey, where did you hear that from? And they say, oh, I heard it from the internet. No, I heard it from the TV. No, where did you hear it from? Like, who did you hear it from? The internet, the TV, they were talking about it. They told me that this happened. They told me to be scared of guns. And so now I am scared of guns. They said, all right? And so it's very interesting. I know I said they before. Who is they? Who is they? And before we go on any further, we're winding it down. Who is they? And why do they want us to know so much about fried chicken? Those are interesting questions. All right, because they do want us to know about fried chicken over and over. Is that a coincidence? Is Chick-fil-A so amazing? Is Popeye's chicken so amazing? The fried chicken is literally in the news. And it's wild because, say, Boondocks, the cartoon, they had an episode about that years before this started happening, right? There was definitely chicken problems even back then. But it's now starting to amp itself up into a daily you're going to hear stuff about fried chicken. Who is they? Why are they doing this to us, right? This is Roger Stone. And of course, this is all pretty pertinent and stuff. It's on the Drudge Report. This was a screenshot. All right. And a lot of people have been wondering about Drudge recently. I don't mind. The thing is, I understand where Drudge is going with this stuff for the most part. And he doesn't owe anything to anybody anyways, right? And there's a lot of people who work on Dredge, probably. And I don't even think it's a big deal, right? To be honest. I don't think he's anti-Trump or anti-anything really when you think about it, all right? That's all I'm going to say about it. But we got male sex robots, right? You might have been hearing. We live in science fiction. It's even worse than science fiction now at this point, but... you may have heard for a while now there's been like sex brothels. All right. And I don't know if this is like inappropriate that we're talking about this. There's probably not children watching this. But there's sex brothels, right? And there's been so for a little while. And, for the most part, it's been, perverted men going in and having relations with robots, right? And we don't even want to really imagine it, but it is happening, right? They've been talking about it, and ever since that's been happening with the sex robots and the brothels, for example. I mean, the sex robot does not make any sense at all right? Not even close. But I don't know if you understand what I mean when I say that your own sex robot would make a lot more sense than going to a brothel, all right? That would make more sense than going to a brothel of sex robots, because you're gonna have to reuse somebody else's sex robot for number one. All right, I don't know what's the way of maintaining sanitation, but not only that, after you go and do whatever it is you want to do to that sex robot, somebody's gonna have to come from behind you and clean up after your mess. That's definitely gonna have to happen every time. All right, who would dare take that job on? For how much money would they take that job on? How much money is exchanging hands during this experience? Those have been questions that have been plaguing me ever since I heard about these. But it's even worse now, right? Male sex robots? Male ones? You got ladies going to this? Yeah, hell yeah. I gotta say it. I've been saying it more and more recently. All those perverted things that you've been hearing men do throughout the ages and stuff, it's disgusting. Ladies are definitely doing those things. And I would say at this point, if not ever before, they're doing them at the same exact rate as the men. All right. That might get you worried. All right. It definitely gets me worried. We got Leah L saying, or using a barista. What in the world? What? I don't know what y'all are talking about. Well, what kind of baristas are they using for that? Yes, laugh out loud. You put it so good. I don't know what we're talking about, but using a barista, I guess. See, ladies using a barista, that might even, that definitely makes more sense than these robots, right? But we got to the point where now just out in the open, male sex robots to replace men as women leave loveless relationships to fulfill desires. Guess what? They've already had tools for that sort of thing, right? And they're just tools, I guess, that they use. It's like, why would you ever want a full functioning robot? What does this robot look like? Does it look like a human being? Like those other robots I've seen? Wow. I mean, there's a phrase that says to each his own. I don't necessarily believe in that. My phrase is do whatever you want, but not around me. I don't get down. All right. Driver crashes into school. Has to be cut out of a vehicle. I thought that was interesting. How do you crash all the way into a school? All right. That's interesting because I would imagine that to be in a school zone as well. I mean, if you're literally crashing into the school, y'all. All right, we're about to wind it down. Y'all, I hope that you've had fun. I've certainly had a lot of fun. All right, I don't know if we did a good job today. All right, but we did try our best, and there's something to be said about that. Something to be said about that. I think this will be the perfect note to end on. Y'all might have heard of a dude named Ed Buck. If you haven't, go ahead and Google it. See what you find. Unwrap says looks like a soy boy. Who, the barista? I'm not sure who we're talking about. But I don't know if maybe Brenda's talking about this guy, Adam Schiff. He's to the left. You might have heard of Adam Schiff. He's Donald Trump's enemy, all right? Obviously, and he dedicates his whole life to it. You got to ask yourself why. Why is that? All right, here's a picture of him just hanging out with his buddy, his good buddy. His good buddy Ed Buck has found himself in a world of problems recently, all sort of problems of a specific nature, right? But before that ever happened, they were cool and they were hanging out and stuff. Now I gotta stress, just because you're in a picture with somebody doesn't mean you even know what they've done before. Doesn't mean you're cool with what they've done before. But hey man, hey, I guess it doesn't mean anything. But I thought it would be a good note to go out on these two buddies. Oh, buddies forever. Ed Buck and Adam Schiff. All right. They just so happen to look like each other. They just so happen to kind of act like each other. They just kind of so happen to look like peas in a pod. And that doesn't mean anything necessarily, does it? All right. But it kind of gives you this weird feeling, doesn't it? Kind of gives me a weird feeling as well. All right. And we're going to end on that note. It is November the 18th, 2019, and there's so much stuff that honestly I didn't even cover tonight. I'm thinking about it right now. It's all coming back to me. Unfortunately, we don't even have enough time. So stay posted to this channel. I'm going to leave links below. And if you need a link to the other channel, I'm going to leave a link to that. And I'm going to leave a link to Joseph Callan down there below. And I'm going to leave a link to Anaconda Malt Liquor if you never heard of him. All right. It's all legends in the game. And you are too. All right. You need to let yourself be known. All right. And we'll get down to the bottom of the nitty gritty. All right. You and me together. It is about teamwork. All right. Safety first and then teamwork. Y'all, I'll holler at y'all. It's November the 18th, 2019.